Hello everyone, hope you're having a great time at AWS Community Day, Australia and New Zealand. I am Vivek Raja from India and I'll be presenting the session on detecting and visualizing COVID-19 pandemic public sentiment using AWS Comprehend and QuickSight. I know that's a very long topic, but I will keep it as interesting as possible throughout the session. So before going into our talk, I want to give a big salute to all frontline workers of COVID-19, for doctors, policemen, reporters, and servicemen who are helping us to keep us safe and making our lives much easier during this pandemic situation. The agenda of the talk will be as follows: like we'll be discussing about COVID-19 and the lockdown measures and the psychology associated with it, and followed by we'll be jumping into a solution part where we'll be orchestrating the AWS services within which we'll be collecting the data, setting up the environment, and extracting the sentiment, and finally we'll be visualizing it. About COVID-19 or coronavirus disease, I don't think there is a need for an introduction for that as everyone is much aware of it. But taking India as my case study, I want to discuss about the various measures and the policies that was implemented by Indian government to control the outbreak of coronavirus. So the first COVID-19 positive test case was recorded on January 31st of 2020, followed by there was a drastic increase in number of cases, and the Indian government implemented lockdown 2.0 on March 25th with various strict policies and measures. Followed by there was a lockdown 2.4 on April 15th, where the lockdown was much more strict and it was implemented with full force, and followed by 3.0 on May 4th and 4.0 on May 18th. After that, the Indian government witnessed a few relaxations, and there was the policy was little on relaxed, and the unlock 1.0 was implemented on June 1, and unlock 2.0 was implemented on July 1st, and this continues as till present. I know that this lockdown is one kind of a situation we have never experienced before, and with this, we have a lot of emotions and other things associated with that. People are tending to experience isolation, loneliness, depression, and sadness due to this unaccustomed situations. But on the brighter side of it, people do experience positive insights like spending a good quality time with their family, which they haven't done in a long time because of their work and other issues. And with coronavirus outbreak, there is a very big impact on our lives, whether it be it a health, career, or financial statement. So, on economic perspective, there is a recession going on, and many people have been fired from their jobs, and businesses have been going down, and a lot of things have been happening due to COVID-19. But it's we can only hope that this will end very soon and we'll be able to come out of it. Now comes the solution aspect of our solution. So first we will try to orchestrate the AWS services, and we will see how that can help us to bring out the solution. So we'll be using social media content for analyzing how the sentiment of the people were during the lockdown situations. So there are many social medias where we can leverage the data from, but I feel that Twitter is a legitimate one. Also, a lot of people are engaged in Twitter, and it's much easier to collect the data from Twitter as compared to other social media handles. So we'll be collecting the tweets, and we'll be storing that in a S3 bucket. So once we have the data in our S3 bucket, it will trigger a Lambda function. That function will do the rest of the thing. So it will collect the data from the S3 bucket, detect the sentiment of the tweet, and populate the results in DynamoDB. So once that is done, we'll be able to visualize the data and the respective sentiment from the DynamoDB in Amazon QuickSight. So now let's jump into the data collection part. As I had said earlier, we are using Twitter as our data source, and for that, to collect the required data over a span of several months, I don't think the Twitter API would be the perfect choice because it only allows us to collect data for past 7 days. But in our solution, it requires around 6 to 7 months. Yeah. So I went for another Python library called Get Old Tweets 3, which is a Python 3 library to collect the tweets based upon various parameters such as location, date, and hashtags and keywords and so on. So we will see how we are collecting the data in a couple of slides after this. And to pre-process the data, we are using a typical Python library such as NumPy, Pandas, JSON library. I want to mention that the whole tweets will be extracted in on the form of JSON, and for us to work conveniently with that, we'll be converting that into a CSV data frame using Pandas, and at last we'll be exporting that as a CSV file, which will be much more easier to us to access. So there are four criteria upon which the tweet was collected, and the first thing is English. The language of the tweets were confined to English language, and the reason is that India is a multilingual country with people speaking a lot of languages, and they come from various regions. Uh, with that, given that as our scenario, I don't think the sentiment analysis part doesn't really is compatible with other languages. So let's stick with English for our easier perspective. And second one is cities. We need to concentrate on the cities where the tweets are generated on large number, and we do that exhibits real sentiment of the whole region associated with the city. And the third thing is the date ranges. Obviously, you can guess that the date ranges associate with the lockdown dates that was implemented by Indian government. And the fourth one is the keywords. So, what are the specific keywords we need to look upon to extract the tweets? So, we'll be seeing that. So once we have set the tweets as English, now we need to concentrate on cities. So I have selected 6 major metropolitan cities of India, which is New Delhi, the capital of India, Kolkata on the eastern side, Mumbai on the western side, and Hyderabad, Bengaluru, and Chennai on the southern side. To make sure that we include almost all regions of India, I have set a radius of 100 kilometer per each city. Let's say as you can see on the map, it covers almost the entire country here. So that will really help us to analyze the sentiment regardless of the region and the place where the people come from. And the third criteria is the date ranges. It, as I said before, it parallelly matches with the lockdown and the unlock measures dates. So I have set the pre-lockdown as a date from which the first positive test case was recorded, and the date before the lockdown one was implemented. So that's our pre-lockdown, and the lockdown 1, 2, 3, 4 will be the dates respectively, and the unlock will be like after the lockdown period. Now comes the keywords. So we have an enormous number of tweets where people are users are posting on daily basis, and it covers all type of domains and messages. So to capture the sentiment of the people, we need to pick up the best 10 15 top trending keywords and hashtags. So obviously you can guess COVID-19, coronavirus, health, job loss, or or the top trending keywords associated with this. So now that we have collected the data and we have set up the all the pre-processing done things were done, and we have a CSV file with us. Now it's time for us to set up the environment in AWS. In AWS, first things first, we need to create an account. So if you don't have one, you can go and create an account within a couple of minutes. And whatever we are discussing so far in this tutorial or the session will be more or less in the free tier. But I do give a warning that there might be some situation where you might incur additional cost. So keep an eye on the billing section of the AWS to make sure that you don't exceed the free trial. So once your AWS account is up, and you need to create an IAM role. And for this role, you need to attach 5 policies, or 4 if necessary is enough. And these are the services we are going to be interacting with in the solution part. So we need DynamoDB full access, comprehend for sentiment analysis, Lambda execute for executing our Lambda function, and CloudWatch logs to see the logs of the Lambda function, and so on. So RDS data full access is optional, but I would say like we had included it in this policy here. So we have set up the role, and now we need to set up two storage tools. One is the S3 bucket for the input data and the DynamoDB for the output data. Please make sure that you're not going to upload your data now, but you are just going to create the necessary tools. So go ahead and create a new S3 bucket. I don't think there is much sort of a explanation needed for that. And when it comes to DynamoDB, create a table, and you can name the table as you want, and set text as our partition key. So the reason why I'm saying text as a partition key is that text refers to the tweet text of our data. So now comes to the part where we extract the sentiment. So our Lambda function will be working as follows. So the Lambda function will be triggered whenever a new object is created in an S3 bucket. So the first thing is that we need to set up a trigger for our Lambda function. So that will be a new object creation in S3. So once that is done, the Lambda function will be triggered. So the Lambda function will be fetching the data from the S3 bucket, sending that to our AWS Amazon's comprehend, where we'll be extracting the sentiment of the tweet, and finally we'll be populating the same in our DynamoDB. So the Lambda function runtime will be Python 3.8, and first let's see how we are going to define our Lambda function here. First, import the necessary packages, OAS and JSON for manipulating and playing with the data, and Boto3 for enabling the access to the AWS services. And as you can see, Boto3 we are implementing the client comprehend client, and we are importing the resource for DynamoDB, and we are referring the table DynamoDB table COVID sentiment, so which is your output DynamoDB table. The name can be as you wish, and you can change accordingly. The second is that we need to set up the trigger. So you can set up the trigger in UI part, but the handling and the respective trigger code must be as follows. So under the Lambda handler function, so the event is the one where a new object is created in S3 bucket. So when that event occurs, we'll be trying to get the bucket name and the new object that was created, that is our file name. So once we get that, we'll be able to read the content of the entire CSV file using a dict reader. So let's define the reader as well. So once these are done, the next thing is that we need to extract the sentiment and populate it, the results in DynamoDB. So that can be done in a couple of lines. So we need to iterate the reader row by row, and we'll be like populating the DynamoDB as 4 columns to be document. So the document consists of text, which is the text of the tweet. Location refers to the city, and the phase refers to whether it is a pre-lockdown, lockdown, or unlockdown, and the sentiment is where the sentiment of the tweet. So here we are calling the detect sentiment, where the sentiment is detected, and the tweet is sent as an input, and we are extracting the sentiment alone here. So once this is set up and done, you can go ahead and upload the CSV file in your S3 bucket, and the whole thing will be triggered, and your final results will be populated in your DynamoDB. So now it's our turn to visualize what type of results we had got. So for that, we will be like using Amazon QuickSight for that. So to export the data from the DynamoDB, you can use AWS CLI, and with this just one command, you will be able to export the entire data in your DynamoDB. So the reason why I'm exporting the data here is that it's one of the easier way to do it, and you can re-upload the same data in your Amazon QuickSight. So go to your Amazon AWS QuickSight, and in that, for the new data source, you can go ahead and upload the exported CSV file here. And now it's time to play with the data. So as you can see, I had selected a histogram to represent the data where it's pre-lockdown, lockdown, and unlock here. We can also notice that though the neutral is one of the major tweets are conveying to us, we can also specifically note that the negative aspect increased during the lockdown period, and the positivity increased during the unlock measure. So hopefully people are trying to be as positive as possible as the unlock measures are unfolded here. And this is another pie chart where it shows the count of each type of sentiment for lockdown measure. And now it's time for you to go ahead and play with your QuickSight dashboard. So it's very much easy. You need to export and select the respective terms, and you can visualize it as you want. And with this, solution is coming to an end, but it's not really the end of the solution. We can enhance it in much better ways. So there are a few suggestions from my side. Is that we had now collected the data, the historic data, and we have visualized it. To make it a real-time dashboard, you can use AWS Firehose to stream the real-time data from Twitter to S3, and followed by this can be entirely done throughout the end of the solution, where we'll be having a real-time dashboard at AWS QuickSight. To help us to build a real-time dashboard, we can build a data pipeline between the data source, the result data source, and the AWS QuickSight data source. So instead of exporting it and re-uploading, we can define a data pipeline. So as I said that we can it's not really to stick with DynamoDB. Instead of that, we can go ahead with any other DB like RDS I had discussed in the earlier part. And once your dashboard is ready, you can also publish it as a web app using Elastic Beanstalk. So if you have any other suggestions to improve the solution, please let me know in the comment section. To help you get started with this solution, I have uploaded the entire dataset in my GitHub profile. You can go ahead and search my username Vivek0712, where I have my COVID Twitter dataset. And also, I have written a step-by-step tutorial blog for the entire solution. And I have aimed to write that solution in the beginner aspect too. So if you are new to AWS and you want to get started, I think this blog would be a great start. It's our responsibility to reduce the number of cases, and it can be achieved by ourselves. So for everyone, let's try to flatten the curve by wearing face masks whenever you go out in public. Use sanitizers and soaps to frequently wash your hands, and maintain a social distancing of at least 2 meters between each other. I hope this session was informative. And if you want to catch me or have a chit chat or discuss about anything related to AI or cloud, I'm very much happy to discuss with you. You can catch me on LinkedIn at Vivek0712 or Twitter at VivekRaja007. I know that sounds like a James Bond. And my GitHub profiles have an amazing repos related to AWS and other machine learning repos. Do check it out at Vivek0712. Now you can post your questions. I'll be happy to assist you and give you the answers for that. And thank you.